Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we continue to provide world-class education, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is Coexistence and Sustainability. And we are going to be talking about home grooming tips for your pet. This is such an important topic. I hear people say all the time how expensive it is to go out and have their pet beautified and all glammed up, and you can do it at home. I know I've done it myself, but definitely would have been a show that would be canceled for sure because no one wanted to see that. But we do have our expert in-house who's going to walk us through all of it. It's pet psychic AMINAH joining us from California. Hello.
Are we good?
Hello. Yes, we're good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you today?
Technology keeps saying, no, you're on. No, you're off. It's wonderful. We're actually overcast and hoping to have some more rain.
Rain, go away. But no, we need the rain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We probably are worse off than you guys. You are supposed to get a lot of water and rain and stuff all year long. We're still struggling just to make ends meet, but I wish people would still take driving 101 in rain.
I have to tell you, I can't believe you brought that up because what's going on here in South Florida, I mean, I'm speechless. You're approaching a light, you see it's yellow, you're going to stop, but the guy behind you is not stopping. Like you can see not stopping, cuts across lanes so he can go through the dead red light. I mean, so you have to watch what you're doing constantly because somebody will just plow into you.
Well, exactly. Or, you know, they're looking at the soda they are trying to pick up, or they've got a screaming child, or the dog decides to jump in the front. Anything can be a distraction from good drivers. It doesn't mean you're a bad driver. It's just you're late. He's obviously late for somebody dying in the hospital or something because he just took everybody's life in their line.
Exactly.
Everybody who's going to cross, everybody who he's just jumped across, and it's too bad. There's so many people that don't care, and they're just like, no, I got to get to this meeting, even if you're dead.
It's crazy.
Or you killed 3 people on the way.
I know you can wait. Everything can wait as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
So. But what can't wait is when our pet is in need of grooming. And I've had this when I had my 3. I have the picture again, my little lovelies. May they rest in peace. But the grooming, it's expensive. So I went out and purchased one of those home, I don't know what they're called, but first of all, the dogs did not like it because you have to get those, you know, if you don't take your dog or have your dog groomed on a regular basis, they get those, what are they, mats, right? The mats.
Oh, right.
That's painful.
Like us, if we don't brush our hair, you're gonna get knots.
Yeah, for sure. So, and sometimes that would happen, and I get this. I don't know. It has like a comb on it, and it's electric, and it would go in to where the mat is. But yeah, it was horrible. So let's talk about the right things to do, not the wrong things to do.
Well, we're all about prevention. We're all about let's see it before it happens. Why this show is educational, fun, and funny, because I can tell you about all the weird things, of course, I've been able to experience. And that is, I actually used to have a cosmetology license, and one woman that came in had those mats. And I've had it all also with pets, because of course I made sure I got a pet grooming certification also. So what happens is you end up cutting down to the skin, and that takes all protection away from everybody, from hair on our head. Ask any man, even a woman, don't ask them, but you could imagine you could if you know them personally, but a man, about what it's like to have, once the hair is gone. My dad always wore a hat. Now, he was a coach, so he was always in the sun, in the desert. So it was really hot. But in those days, sunscreen wasn't the go-to thing. It wasn't very good. It was very gloppy and kind of gross to have on you. I remember it was like, get this stuff off me, even if I need it. But my dad always wore a hat. And men do when that balding happens. Skin cancer is a real thing. Getting repeated sunburn is a real thing. It is also for your pets.
Absolutely. I was over on Instagram typing something for people who are watching over there. So hello,
Great.
Instagram people. We're happy to have you with us today.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I just want to comment on what you were just saying there. And one thing I think that's really important, and you say this all the time about the education, when you acquire a pet, whether you saved, it's a rescue, you purchase it, it's a responsibility. It is
Yes.
a living, breathing member of your family. And
that's even if it's 2 weeks. If
right.
I'm just babysitting, but the life is still your responsibility to get them back alive and healthy to their owners. That should be an underlined agreement.
Yeah, very true. So I think, you know this better than I do, but put together a budget before you purchase, save, rescue, put together a budget. What are some of the costs, AMINAH, that people have to keep in mind before they buy a dog, for example?
Besides the very, very, very obvious thing, food and water, which you usually get out of your tap. And that's pretty easy. But dog food is a very specific thing for the breed, the size, the weight. You're going to get your little dogs. You're going to get your Chihuahuas, and anything up and down within 4 inches of that. If you can imagine you're feeding them the same as I fed my German Shepherd, that's too much food, because their body simply doesn't need it. That doesn't mean they can't become gluttons. There are plenty of animals that are food motivated, and that's great for training. As long as let's say you have peanut butter and you have it on a spoon. On a spoon, this much of the spoon, not this much of the spoon, not this much of the stick.
A giant spoon.
Yeah, it's not the peanut butter cookie, with all the sugar and brown sugar in it. It is strictly peanut butter. Peanut butter already has enough sugar in it just by the way it's manufactured. And you can get raw almond butter or this or this or this. Now, if you go to any kind of nut to do training or use for reinforcement, whatever, imagine peanut butter. It's not something you hold on your belt, because they have little belts that hold treats, little like bacon treats. Well, they're kind of dry, so they sit in a little pouch. You really can't do that with peanut butter. You could, but it's not recommended. So when you're doing that, don't get more than 1/4 teaspoon. Meaning you get your silver, spoon out that you're going to eat cereal with, put a little bit on. It's about your animal looking to you for directions, to say stopping a behavior, as opposed to sometimes yelling is the only way because the animal's just too far away, and too much damage would happen between the time you got to them to prevent them from, falling off a cliff, etc. What I did with our shepherds was, and they were rescued, especially the older one. If you watched the channel, dumped in a backyard of a house we bought. So I learned to whistle even better than I did before. Now, the bad part is I whistle with my fingers in my mouth. I never acquired the just whistle through my lips unless I was really, really quiet. But when I could whistle with my hands, hopefully they were fairly clean, it goes very far. It travels. And I'll tell you, I got the kids coming back. I got the dog coming back. Everybody's used to the whistle. You can have one around your neck, just as simple, from the dollar store.
There you go. Something else I also want to mention, I know maybe a year or so ago, I don't remember, one of your guests came on, and I think she was in the natural food business for dogs. You remember this?
No, not anymore, but it sure rings a absolute, that would be something we would have done.
Yeah. So the reason I bring it up is I remember when I had my dogs, you were talking about the bacon thing and the belt. I used to buy these treats, and this is
Mhm.
before I was informed. I used to buy these treats in the pet store. And when you would look at what was in there, I have no idea what was in there, but I would never buy that again. But people do buy these pre-made
Yep.
treats that are, it's just like us, the food that we eat. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's the same thing, exactly what you just said. Read the ingredients. If you cannot decipher the first three, this is the most important thing. In every nutrition class, they'll teach you. The most you want to know about a product, especially, is the first three, because they're the majority of the ingredients. Everything else, color, number, blah, blah, the sodium, lies, the da da da. There's so many preservatives in our food, dog, cat, or people, that there's a lot you cannot not purchase if you need that specific food. With your pets, especially in this day and age where we have so many pets having allergy issues across the board, it can be plant, it can be the perfume you wear, it could be the carpet cleaner you use. You've got to be aware when your pets are walking through your house, they have cleaned, if they're cats, they definitely licked their paw recently to clean it and get it going. And that's how they go. Dogs, a little bit less, just depends on the dog and what kind of dog it is. That's not their go-to. If it itches, sure, and they'll lick their paws. If your pets are spending any more time than a good maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes might be too slow, too little. But if you see them constantly kicking their feet, you got an allergy either on the way in, and they're just showing the beginning signs because you are a good pet owner and you watch them and play with them all the time. So you notice the change immediately, and you need to go to the vet. The first thing you got to find out is what is going on. Did you add a new food? Because some of this, you can do this sleuth stuff before you get to the vet so you have more information. If you just, or somebody gave your pet a treat that, of course, you'd have knowledge of it, you've had to have knowledge of it to make that stop, is saying, wait a minute, my cat, my dog, my squirrel, whatever it is, hopefully you don't have a squirrel in their outdoors, but any of your pets are gnawing at any part of their body, something is causing the rash besides them just digging at it. So that's when you really need to consult with your veterinarian and find out, because it could be as simple as having a blood test and they see it, or it's a topical scrape that they see. But be aware of everything you possibly can of what your pets are ingesting. That means you have to keep up with them on a walk. If you have a dog, especially, any one that you let off leash in the dog park and they go running and they come back with the ball and you guys are having a great time, and all of a sudden he doesn't come back right away, you need to see what they're doing. Just like any small child, they can get into trouble in 2 seconds. And I know, having a German Shepherd who was not a very big one, he was on the smaller side, but his markings were stunning. So everybody exactly knew what his breed was. And luckily I caught him before somebody cracked their ears, because it's not the way it's supposed to look. That's a beautification thing that people put in. And it's very, very painful having your ears. That's a whole nother show. But when he is out there, I needed to make sure that everybody knew that, first of all, he was harmless, but he loved to go up to other people and say hi. And I really had to curtail that. And I had to be there to say, hey, he's safe. He's okay. You can pet him if you'd like. Otherwise, I'd be glad to remove him. So again, have an awareness of what your animals are doing, saying, being. If they itch once, everybody itches once or twice. But if it goes more than that, look in their fur, see what's going on. Is there a lot of dander? Is there a bug bite? God forbid there's a tick. All of that kind of stuff. That's why petting your pet, hugging your pet, having physical contact with them is one of the best, easiest, free things you can do. And it's great for you. It's great for our hearts. It's great for our minds. It's great for our equilibrium. All of it. Literally, I mean all of that. Because all you have to do is go up and hug a pet, just like you hug a person that you care about, and all of that angst and everything, and your animal feels it too. They feel the love. And training, I'll tell you, goes a lot better with love and a definitive message, meaning when you say no about this thing, it's no forever, and no, 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 and once they get it, they're like, okay, I got it. But it comes with compassion, love, and consistency.
Excellent. Excellent points as always. So let's rewind just a little bit. We're going to be talking about home grooming today. We're also looking at what is a budget. What are some budget items that people can plan for when they purchase, they save, rescue a dog? So we know that they're going to be food, obviously, food. You talked about that, some kind of treats, whatever that's going to be. Potentially training is helpful. And then, of course, there are vet bills. And some of the vet bills can be astronomical depending on what's going on. So would you talk a little bit? I think we had someone on maybe a year ago on this about pet insurance.
Yeah, there is pet insurance out now. All my pets are indoors full time. And so I have never, I did it in the beginning with when the German Shepherd was still, we had two were with us, because those bills just always came up. So look at your budget, look at the insurance. It's so much better today, from what I understand by my clients, than it was even a few years ago. And so things change all the time. So do look into that. If that's a financial system that works for you, that's great. Some of us have a different, like a savings account that's just for our pets. That is a really great way, so that you don't dip into it. Oh, I'm going to go get something special and I have that extra $20 in here. Vet bills can be a lot depending on what the injury is or why you're there. Why constant care is always recommended. If you do a checkup every 1 to 2 years with a healthy animal, and you've got the teeth checked and you've got their paws checked, all of that, and they'll do a check of their body and they do a thorough job, that is you, the pet owner, and the parent saying, yeah, I have a really great vet community, and or one vet that I go to, and they have a program. A lot of vets have this still. Even when I was working, they had this. They have packages. So these are great things to ask for Christmas. These are great things to ask for your birthday. These are great things to ask for the dog's birthday. If you have a pair of human grandparents that love to contribute or want to have the pet have more fun things like that. And you get a chance where you go to 3 visits or whatever the vet has put together. What I'm trying to say at the bottom of this and the top of this, check with your area. Talk to other pet owners. What vet are they using? Do they have programs? Is there something I can sign up for, like 3 appointments a year or whatever? Let's say 1, you had an accident and they needed a bandage, 2, just well checks. Depends on the age of your animal, on your vet, but these things do exist. And I just encourage you to do the work to find it, because the worst thing that happens is, God forbid, one of your pets gets catastrophically injured. Usually it's a car colliding with the pet, or they ripped a toe off when they were chasing a squirrel, or something that is really, really dire, that cannot heal on its own, not properly at least. And you need to have surgery or something with your pet. You will be so thankful that you preempted this. And yeah, could you save that money in a bank account on the side? Sure, you could do that. If that's something you're diligently able to do. Some banks do automatic deposits into savings accounts if they're all in the same bank. There's just so many avenues for you to not have to think about it every day, and just say, okay, every paycheck I'm going to put $5 in. And just think, if you did that for a whole year, you probably have enough for that bandage or broken leg, maybe not surgery, but you might have enough that you feel like, okay, I have what is it? A rainy day fund. And that's what we're looking for, is to make sure that you have the choice to pick the better doctor. or the better service, or somebody who can understand the way you and your pet work. Whatever it is, how you choose a vet, your money shouldn't, honestly, it's too bad. It is something that drives us all there because we either have it or we don't. But do it when you don't need it. Research the vets in your area, go see them, meet them, see if that's something they do, or if they just have a technician that will walk you through on what their policies are. They all have brochures in their waiting room usually. I don't think I've ever seen a vet not have one. And you can always Google them and get the reviews online.
Definitely. And part of grooming also includes the teeth. And teeth are very, very important. And I've had people tell me that they started brushing their dog's teeth when the dog was very young. So the dog was used to it. But if you wait until the dog gets older, it can be problematic. They can try to bite you. What do you recommend?
Well, I honestly, you're right. If you've waited, good luck with that. Don't call me. Because imagine you trying to go up to somebody our age or even 10 years younger, who cares? And they say, you need to do this. And they put this little bitty brush with little bitty bristles on it. And we're like, yeah, no. Now, if my teeth were hurting and they're falling out and all that, yeah, I might try that because, what's left? Not much, 2 teeth,
Right.
And the gargling and that kind of stuff. But when you think of leash training, think of potty training, that you don't want them to go potty in the house of any kind. You want that signal. They can communicate with you when they teach us how they're going to, and we teach them what we need to know and how they can say, let's just scratch on the door. Okay, they run out, go potty, come back. So the same goes with brushing their teeth, same with finding out that they're limping. All kinds of things can go wrong. Animals, cats are much worse as far as they're stronger in masking, because what happens in the wild? Dr. Jacalyn, do you know what happens in the wild if an animal gets injured or sick?
It gets killed.
Absolutely. It's dinner. It's dinner. Because there's no vet, there's no medicine, there's no bandages coming. And I've seen plenty of wild animals that have a third of their leg missing because somebody chewed it off, bit it off. Or the one I most commonly saw was they had chewed their own leg because they'd been trapped in a snare. And everybody who has anything to do with trapping animals, these are, I hope, are now banned everywhere. It's just a wire in a loop, but it's buried either in the dirt or something. The animal steps in, pulls them up at the leg. And what usually happens if the person, whoever put the snare there to catch whatever they think they're going to catch, is the animal struggles and struggles and struggles till they either break their leg and pull it out or they chew it off. And we have honestly actually seen animals in the wild missing limbs. And we know exactly how they happen. It's always by one of those lines. And it's cruel and horrible to watch. Why it's so important to watch your animals, have them on leash, have a good vet for your animals to be able to have all these conversations. Say, my animal is itchy. What soap are you using? What are you doing with this? And they can help you with that investigation on what's next.
Plus, animals can have food allergies just like people.
Exactly. And more so today than 10 years ago, and more so 10 years ago than 10 years before that. Why? Because we have designer animals and designer food. So a lot of things that the manufacturers found out is they have to make the food look good to the person, not the dog. And how many times is there a conflict? Oh, 50-50 chance on every single thing out there. Because let's say you don't like the consistency of pate. You know how many dog foods come in a pate consistency? I can name a whole shelf.
I don't like pate, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah. And so but maybe you don't like chicken flavor, or maybe they don't like liver, or, blah, blah. The list goes on. The list goes on and on and on. But the owners of the food who are making it, no, they still have to get you to buy it.
Right.
So what I'm hoping has happened, here's my dream, because I have no proof that it's happened, and you'll have to tell me, you probably bought dog food more than lately than I have, is they're marketing to the human labels, ingredients, and luckily us pet owners have demanded more and more good ingredients, wholesome things that we can actually say, what the heck is red number 6? And we don't know. So hopefully we are still, all as pet owners, are making our voices heard about we want it better. We can go to the store and cook a liver ourselves. We can go to the store and make a thing of chicken ourselves. But sometimes you're just out of time, much less trying to cook for your family. So we go to dog food. Dry dog food has a purpose. It does get a lot of stuff off their teeth by the friction. But does it have any nutritional value? That's where we all need to come together. And I know I have done it, and I know other people have done it. I was making chicken, a whole one, boiling it, kept the liquid. I put half of it away for the cold season. I put it in a freezer. And yeah, it's not the best, but at least I had that basic, so I could add it to pasta. I could use it as an ingredient also. And I know a lot of people do that with their pets. They will freeze it, and when they're in a really warm place, the pet's like, oh, this is great. Especially if you leave a piece of skin, like chicken skin, because it's very fatty. It's very fatty, and that fatness, that's not the right word, part of the ingredient is really nutritious. The problem is if you don't cut it up, or it's frozen solid or some other chip breaking way, you have to cut it up. Otherwise, they can choke on it.
Sobering words there, that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, before they die, isn't it nice to hear, oh, by the way, don't do that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So let's circle back to grooming. Mm-hmm. And what is the proper way? I know when I walk past a pet grooming place and they've got the dog up on the table and they've got a little thing. What should you be doing if you decide to groom your dog at home?
Get the right brush for the type of skin, but fur, even more importantly. What type of dog do you have? What's really great is when you go to a really good pet store, they have the resources, meaning the people they hired are not just stocking shelves. And sadly, we're finding this more and more and more and more in every industry, that the secretary you meet at the desk now can check you in and that's it. And she's doing something else, but she can't answer half your questions because she wasn't brought in on that, or he wasn't brought in on that. Go to a pet store that actually can answer those questions. Go to a go to a vet who will take the time and say, here's the ingredient list and here's what you don't want in it. Because if your vet doesn't have your back like that, you probably should find a new vet. Because that's what their whole job is, not to have more sick animals. I'm sure that would be fabulous financially, but who wants to go to the doctor that only gives advice that eventually makes your pet worse? I think we'd all figure that out about the second or third time that they got worse by their advice. And we all talk to each other, all pet owners, regardless if you still have them or not. We talk about them with great love, like you do your puppies. So network, and then decide. With nowadays and the internet, you can literally research anything. This is why we're on YouTube. This is why I'm on USA Global TV, because I know I have a lifetime of experience and I'm loving to learn more every day, to share that with everybody who listens and know that maybe today it'll save somebody's life. Either a person, an animal, or both. That would be the biggest gift I would ever ask for.
Thank you. That's amazing. So for people who are wondering about the brush, I know myself, I have a couple of different types of brush. One, somebody told me, which I didn't know, that when you have wet hair, you should not be brushing your hair with a typical brush. So I have a brush that's just for wet hair. Is it the same with your dog?
Depending on the breed. Every breed has a different poodle, as you know, totally different than a bulldog, than a collie, than a shepherd. What I didn't know when I adopted my first shepherd, again, you guys can look back on all the videos, but he literally was dumped in the yard of the house we bought. They moved out, giant septic hole. They got the septic tank removed, which was like 12 feet deep, and the dog was just in the back. And it chewed up every toy forever. But we didn't get there for, I don't know, a month before we were finally in escrow to do our final exam walkthrough. And I was like, wait a minute. The neighbor said, you know, there's a dog in the back. Really? Why? Because that means those people had moved away within the last 4 weeks and just left him there with a metal bowl in the California heat with no shade. So it doesn't matter if they had food. You need to know what breed you're getting. You need to research what your life will be like with what they need. And what they need is not just love and attention, but they need good care. They need to go for walks. Even the little ones, even the little bitty dogs need attention. I know our cats, they put up with us being gone for work during the day or like this. My cats are used to me doing this live chat, and they all just go sleep on the couch. And then afterwards we do the huggy thing, and I'm glad to have it. Know what you're dealing with, but read up, talk to the experts, go to YouTube. I'm not the only one out here giving free advice on how you keep your pets healthy. And it's prevention, not reaction. You don't want, accidents happen. It just does. There's nothing you can do about it if they break their leg, unless you knew they like jumping off a table and hitting the hard floor. Eventually, twisting a leg is possible. Breaking a nail is possible. And on an animal that has their toes are all about part of how they feel the world, breaking a toenail can be really catastrophic because it can bleed like crazy and could jeopardize their life.
Wow. So much to know, and so much that you've shared. I think it's our 154th episode. Think of all the education you've provided over these last years. It's amazing. So I want to just bring everything together in terms of a budget. We talked about a number of things. What haven't we talked about that you need to consider for your pet? Now, something that just came up that could be completely ridiculous, but for some people, it's not ridiculous. It's really important. It's pet clothes.
Yes, kind of silly. And somebody actually gave us some, and we put it on the cat once, and the cat looked like she would have been killed. And they just one of our cats just flopped over, and he's like, "I'm going nowhere. I don't know what this is, but you got to get this off me." And I've seen the dogs do it, but they're hilarious. Clothes can have
little booties. What about the booties?
Yes, and that is really great if you're in a climate that actually sees 4 seasons. I live in California. We have 2, maybe. And if it does snow, which it has, we don't usually see it after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's usually gone. So if you are in a place anywhere from the deep south to the tropics of Hawaii and everything in between, or another country, please be aware that your animal also might need sunscreen. That is not for people. Okay, this is something you go to a pet store, you look at online, says safe for pets, because remember, most pets lick themselves to itch, to clean up a piece of their fur, chew in their toes because they had an itch, whatever. Everything you buy for your pets must be pet safety. Look at the label. If the first 3 ingredients, which is the most of anything that comes in any product, food, lotion, whatever, your first 3 ingredients in the bottle is the majority of what it's made out of. If you didn't know this before, hopefully you'll share it on. The first 3 ingredients are the majority of whatever that product is made out of. If it is something your animal already knows they're allergic to, obviously don't do that one. Anytime you're trying something new, try a little bit. Put a little finger on there, put it on their paw, or put it down the middle of their back, just a little bit. And then see how it goes while you're home and you can do something about it. Like, God forbid they start itching like crazy within 15 minutes. You need to get them in a bathtub and get that washed off immediately. And if it gets red and lumpy and all that, then you need to call your vet immediately. I have not seen very many stories of animals not breathing compared to people who are allergic to things, and they literally go into anaphylaxis reaction. I think that's the word. Pets can have the same reaction. Just know, if you got something new, even if it's clothes, and you're not going to wash them yet because you want to see if they look good and you want to see if you're able to take it back to the pet store, you don't know where they've been. You don't know whoever tried them on, like we do when we try it on clothes in a store. So keep track, even if it's just in your mind and you say, oh, we're doing something new. We're going to go to a new park. We're going to go to a new person's house. You will be so glad that you have paid attention even to those details. And it might sound silly and overdone. All I'm talking about is just pay attention to what you and your pet are doing. Because the time you have to take them into emergency and you have the answers, he did this, they chewed on this, I saw them lick the cat, I saw them lick the floor. If you've gone into somebody else's home and your pet licked the floor, then you have somebody to call and say, hey, did you clean the floor? Do you think there's something got dropped on the floor? You have an ally to say, let's work out some of the details. And maybe they say, oh, we just washed it, in blah, 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 whatever, soap, laundry, whatever, floor cleaner. And it maybe is that the trigger, but it gives the veterinarian and you a place to start. If you don't know what they got into, which we all go through, all of us. I haven't seen one of our cats all morning. And this is the afternoon now. And that's just because they're cats. The last time I saw them, they were asleep. And I'm sure if I go up and check on them, they'll be asleep because that's what they do until we all get off work. Just asking you to think a little bit more broad and be more aware of your surroundings, especially when you have small children and pets in with you, either walking with you, talking with you. I know when I would walk our shepherds, I spent, and even with my kids in a stroller, I would spend more times looking at the ground and farther out to the next curb or the next crosswalk. So I knew how to maneuver the kids away from the rocks, made sure the shepherds, our dogs, had good, safe place to walk up on and not get a nail in their foot, and not get a rock stuck between their toes. All of those type of things. You'll really be so much better off to preempt any other illnesses or cuts or scrapes. And it doesn't mean that you can't come home, check their paws, see how they are. And, some like stickers, small stickers, oh, they're the worst. They're some of the worst, especially the ones that burrow. They have a little fuzzy part. I'm forgetting the name of them, but they're really prevalent in my area. So we really, really, really have to check every single time I brought my shepherds back. I would go through their feet. It's not foxglove. Anyway, somebody think of it, email it to me because I know what if you know what I'm talking about. It's a teeny tiny little thing, but it will burrow into the skin. It actually has the ability to go all the way to your heart or your pets.
Wow. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's very scary. Yeah. Wow. You always amaze me with the things you come up with. And also, I'm going to announce, not on this show, but I'm thinking of doing a special episode. Maybe you'll join me just on the iguana.
Oh, wow.
On iguanas. Yeah. So we can talk about that later. So what other topics will we be discussing? Anything come to mind in the future that you want to talk about?
Well, I have a list, but I didn't pull it up to with that type of stuff. But I'd like to have us talk about wildlife specifically. And because it keeps coming up on my feed, and I truly believe if I'm not even putting a search engine in and it keeps coming up, so that means there's a lot going on. With this one, we talked about this probably over a year ago, Dr. Jacalyn, was the squirrels, and how many people are feeding the squirrels or feeding the birds and that type of stuff. And there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. Giving your table scraps is the wrong way. There's the short part of this story. And with everybody, please, if you have a special pet issue or whatever, reach out to me, bridgingworlds.us. And there's all my contact and basically the resume of all the places I'm at. And I'd love to answer the questions that you have, because yes, I've had a lot of experience and I've been a pet owner off and on my whole life, but that doesn't mean my experience has been your experience. And we all would love to be able to share those things. But Dr. Jacalyn, I will send you that list of all the fun things, because so many things happen either organically, or you see, wow, I got a lot of people who are really concerned about XYZ. Having your pets licensed and microchipped is now essential. This is not a suggestion. It's not maybe you should. If you want your pets back, or if you want to be notified, God forbid I have to say this out loud, after they've died because they've been hit by a car or whatever, you need to have a microchip. I know some people are very close about their privacy, or they just don't know where to get it done. Any vet clinic should, to this day, it's been out for so long, should be able to do this for you. And look at clinics, look at pet stores. Go and see when they're doing their big adoption day. Guess what they're probably also doing? Microchipping animals. There's so many resources that people forget. Even I do, because I don't have a dog anymore. And our cats live in the house full time. Shelters really, really need the support. Anytime you can volunteer, those animals will do better if they have a chance to go for a walk, be with other people, have that exchange. Dogs specifically, they're a pack animal. They need that socialization. Cats, not as much, but that doesn't mean they don't need love. They don't need somebody to come in. This is a great thing to do with your kids, especially if you start young. Please, please, please start 5-year-olds and above. They can be as loving as a 90-year-old person and everything in between. Don't think that your children have to be of age. Now, the organization will set that, but I don't want parents to think, oh, my child's too young. Oh, we'll get to it later. And then when's later? She's 12, she's 17, she's 20. And God forbid, that's when the little ones don't get educated. That's when tails get pulled and the tail, I have had a cat where the tail got pulled by a youngin', and the nerves were so damaged that the tail just dragged behind her for the rest of her life. And a tail is part of standing in a balance. It's so vital in knocking off flies. And we opted not to have it amputated because it was too traumatic for her to go to the vet. She just was so traumatized by this. And this was 4 years after it happened. So just know there are better ways to do it. And I'll just keep coming up with more logical things to talk about.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for being here. I know one topic we'll cover is those crossings that over the freeways.
Yep.
That was
the animal freeway thing. I don't know what they call it now. Yeah. Nature crossings, maybe.
That was a really good one. So yeah. So that's all we have for today. So thank you for being here. Have a beautiful weekend.
You too.
All right. I will see you next week.
Everybody hug that puppy out there.
Okay. Bye for now. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We hope you have enjoyed our program today. Please do go and follow Pet Psychic AMINAH. You can find her on bridgingworlds.us. That's her website. You can also find her on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. So we're going to say goodbye for now. We'll be back on Monday, and we're going to say thank you again to our fabulous sponsors who make this all possible. Let's hear from them now. Bye. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting the Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the secrets of visual impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they are instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you.
Hello, I'm children's author Diane Floyd Bain, and I am co-host for several of the USA Global TV and radio shows. I joined because of the purpose of the USA Global TV and radio. They provide content for the viewers and listeners, an opportunity for people around the world to have their own show or even be a guest on an existing show. We truly believe in helping others get their positive message out to the world. We also have the opportunity for the listeners. You can watch on several platforms, and on YouTube, you can ask questions and even give a comment. We absolutely love it. I love being part of the USA Global TV and radio because I love positive messages, and who doesn't? And we need more of that in the world. We are a family, and we hope you will join us and become part of the family too.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Caruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.